Okay, we're gonna apply a saddle stitch on this little hat holder, and first thing we're gonna do is cut the thread, and the thread, one old guy said, you take the path that you're gonna stitch, and you do it like 4.5 times that length, and so that's how much thread we have, and it's too much, but yeah, we're working with it. So we're gonna thread the needle, and one way to do it is just to kind of put the little thread in between your fingers, and you stick the hole near it, and then you just swivel it back and through, and just like that, it works. Never works when you do it on the first time on the camera. Try it again, put the hole right there, and now you just kind of wiggle your needle, and it goes. So you stick that thread in the hole right there, and then you just put the eye of the needle right there, and you just kind of wiggle the needle through, and viola, it goes right in there. All right, so we're gonna pull out a little bit, and then we're going to not tie a knot, but we're gonna go ahead and just stick the needle right in the middle of the thread. You stab it in there, and you pull it through, and you got it all set up. So we're going to do the other end while I realize that I'm never going to be a hand double for Joey on Friends. Yeah, there's that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do it again here. Just like that, it goes right on through. It knows when you're on camera. All right, right the hole, wiggle, wiggle, jiggle, jiggle. Goes right on through. Gonna go ahead and stab the thread. All right, so both ends are all set up and ready to go. So we're gonna do the saddle stitch the way that I learned it. We're gonna start for this pattern. So this is a little hat holder, and we're gonna go down the length of one side, down all the way, go around the circle, and end up there. That way it's one path, minimal crossing over. So I'm gonna start in that little hole right there. I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna start in this little hole right here, pull it all the way through. And this hole is one hole into my path. I'm gonna back up to one hole over here, and this is gonna give me that little extra, I guess, strength. Boom, boom, boom. We're gonna pull this through. And out of the camera, I'm just making sure that the threads are the same length. All right, so now the saddle stitch is basically my left hand going through the hole, and this hand, I've got the needle on my index finger. I'm gonna put it right there on that needle, pull through, and I like to grab the thread with my third finger, and I pull the thread away from me. And on the other side, I pull this thread just a little bit as I'm putting the needle through, and that helps me know that my needle did not go through that thread. So now I'm going to go away from me and over the needle, pull everything down tight, and wingo dingo, we got the first one done there. All right, so that process, one more time, needle through, I catch the needle with this one, pull the thread away from me so that the hole's a little bit more clear. I pull this to make sure that the needle did not pierce the thread, pull them both through, and wham zow, it's through there. All right, so we're going to do that, and the more you do it, the more it just becomes like a therapy, pulling these things through. Why do you do a saddle stitch? Well, when you're learning from somebody, you just do what they tell you to do. The saddle stitch is a strong stitch. This thing is going to be used in a truck or something to hold somebody's hat. When they're driving and you can't wear your hat, it's just a nice way to hang the hat. But these, there's a magnet in the round end, and you just put two of these together, and it holds the hat up and out of the way. So that's kind of cool. So the saddle stitch is by design a really strong stitch, and I wonder what they originally used it on. Could it be perhaps saddles? So the idea that I've understood is if something were to go wrong, if one of these stitches gets cut or something, it's not going to let dang it, threads get stuck on that pony. It's not going to let the rest of it, unravel. It's a pretty good stitch, and each stitch is kind of strong in and of itself. Right there, right there. This is bam boom. There we go. Now I'm gonna unscrew the stitching pony. If you don't have a stitching pony, you need a stitching pony. But even more so, you gotta name your stitching pony. What would you name yours? God, I sound like Mr. Rogers. So, continuing, pop that through there, stitch, and go. So these holes that you see on these, I created this pattern on a laser printer, and I used the laser printer to cut each of these pieces out. I know, cuss me because I'm not doing it the real way, but it's quicker. And so the holes were burned into the leather, and so that they're all the same. I tried to make the holes in this design diamond shaped. When you use a hand stitch and hole puncher, the diamond shaped ones are really nice because the way that you pull the thread through, the threads will kind of cross a little bit. And so one old guy that does it a lot, he takes one hand up and one hand down and tightens his thread, and that kind of pushes the threads into those diamond cuts. All right, gonna go through here. Boop, boop. There we go. In and around. All right, so we're gonna undo stitching pony. Did you think of your name yet? I know you did. You're sitting there watching. If you're watching this video still, yeah, you came up with a name. Turn to your right. Tell your neighbor, what did you name your stitching pony? Oh my God. All right. Bam, boom. So one of the things about this saddle stitch, that's a kind of a funky corner. One of the things about the saddle stitch is that it looks really good when you have a good, strong stitch and hole. And if you do it the same pattern, you see that I keep pulling the thread away from me, and then I pull it in. If you have good diamond punched holes, and you do it differently, like this time I go on the other side of the hole, you'll actually be able to tell it. And, doesn't look the greatest. But on this pattern, with these holes, probably wouldn't make that much of a difference. Boom. All right, so I am gonna go ahead and pause this and come back when I get later in, because I'm about to tell a story, and it's a story that nobody wants to hear, and I kind of realized that. So if I pause real quick and make it around this corner and come back, you won't have to fall asleep. All right, bam, had to finish that line out. All right, we're back. Gonna go around the bend here. So I've got a magnet in between the two halves, and I'm basically gonna stitch around this way in the circle and come back and finish it right there. So I was thinking, if I were to name another stitching pony, maybe I'd use my mother's maiden name, which is, oh my God, don't do that. Don't be saying your mother's maiden name to anybody on the phone, in an email. No. Too much data insecurity. In through the hole, catch the needle, pull the thread, back to the hole. Wham's out. What was the name of that towel that you used to clean your car with? Infomercials. Wham Pow. Zam Zow. I don't remember. I can't remember everything. All right, coming around the corner here. This is quite therapeutic, especially when you're the ADHD leather guy. So many stories in your head while you sit here quietly and do this. No, I'm not going to tell you that story. No. Why would I put this on the YouTube? Well, we do have a small store, and people come in and they do craft projects that we've made. And it's kind of cool. We already have all of the pieces cut, set up in little kits. We've got directions. People just come on in and make them. And when the store's not open, we do leather work, custom leather, custom wood. And then lately it's been some very random things that people walk in here. Can you fix this? Well, I channel my daddy. He was a tinkerer. He's a fixer. And we fix stuff, if I can. It's been kind of cool. You get to meet people in a small town when you do something like that. Word gets out, so yeah, I'm letting the word get out. We're on the home stretch here. I hear a friend in my head right now saying, I mean, not like a voice, but an actual friend. Why did you talk through your video? It could have been a cool ASMR, ALMNMR, whatever that is. Well, number one, I don't have a good microphone on the needle. I don't know if you'd hear that all that well. And number two, I didn't want to this time. Yeah. All right. So, I'll open this up a little bit. We got to go back all the way around there. Yeah, this design idea came from a customer. She came in and said, do you have anything like this? And we didn't. We sat there and talked with her for a little while. She described what she wanted. Come back here, get on the computer, do some figuring, do some lasering, and we got this bad boy. This was not the first attempt. Hey, be still, camera. Was not the first attempt or the third attempt. Big believer. FAIL, F-A-I-L, stands for first attempt in learning. We use that in the classroom. So yeah, you cut some, you build one, you find problems with it, you redesign, and you keep going. I think after I do this batch, I may make a couple of design changes. So now, I've made it all the way to that hole. And when you're on a sewing machine, you go backwards to kind of set the thread. With the saddle stitch, the way it locks everything in, you don't really have to do it that much, right? But we're gonna go back one hole to help set this stitch a little bit. And this time, because I'm going the opposite direction, I'm pulling the thread towards me into Mr. Hole. Didn't catch any threads. Pull it all in there, nice and tight. And then I'm gonna go in one more hole this side so that both of, it's on the other side, you can't see it. So now both of the threads are out on this side. I'm gonna tie this into a knot, burn those off, right? All right, I don't know if I was actually planning on doing this part, but let's see if we can do it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and work around the camera, tie this into a knot. And zowies. And one more. I don't think you're supposed to do it twice. And nice and tight, zoinks. I did that one for Scooby. All right, now we're gonna cut this. Oh, that was cool. Scissors are catching. Because it's a magnet. Now, used to watch videos and watch these guys bring out their Bic lighter, and you just take your Bic lighter and you just kind of burn these off, right? And I kept scarring up stuff. I didn't like it. So use one of these. No name provided, no affiliate link. Come on. So you push the button, gets super hot, and just burn off the tips. And I'm gonna burn this one off. Kind of hard to see it from this angle because the camera is in the way. Boom. So because there's a little bit of wax in this thread, it's nice, it sets it really well. All right, that's not as good as I wanted. So now I've cut the thread. The next step is to take your small hammer and hammer down all of these to make them flat. I want all of my stitches to be flat. And then we'll finish it up with some good edging, burnishing, loving, selling. Actually, you got to put some more pieces together, but that's the saddle stitch. All right. Now, the video's over. Y'all have a good day. Be happy, be healthy, be well.